Let's have a look, see what's new on Netflix from the 7th of November to the 13th of November. First up is a documentary about the former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, as he opens up about his life, including his sex scandals, corruption trials, and friendship with Vladimir Putin. Actually said Vladimir Putin like he was some sort of villain there. I do apologise, I didn't mean that. Ouija, or as pronounced in Belfast, Ouija, is a horror film with a supernatural feel about a group of friends, one of which mysteriously dies, and the grieving teens seek connection via an antique Ouija board to conjure up nightmares from the other side. It's had a sequel recently in the cinema that was generally considered to be better. I don't know if this is particularly good, I haven't seen it myself, but word is it's a decent enough affair, so if it got a sequel, that probably means that it did the business and might be worth a view. And crucially, that sequel did not go direct to video, it got a cinematic release. However, kudos to Netflix for putting this horror film on just after Halloween. I know those faces. That's Chris Klein, the guy who was gonna be something from American Pie, and Lily Sorbinski, she's lovely. A spoiled rich kid, Kelly, inadvertently wrecks a diner during a James Dean-style drag race and is sentenced by the court to rebuild the restaurant. This is a film called Here on Earth. It's a romantic drama from the year 2000 with two stars who were supposed to go on to bigger, better things but didn't quite do so. It sounds like a great story of restorative justice in the American way. I can't say I'm going to bother with it because it looks totally unappealing. Irish-American comedian Kathleen Madigan has a stand-up show called Bothering Jesus, in which she riffs from everything from growing up in Missouri, signing up her parents to be Uber drivers, to anything to do with bacon. I've actually never heard of her before, but I'll give it a go. In 19th century Argentina, a man returns to his family's plantation after 15 years to revive a violent past, slave abuses, and evil spirits. This is a Argentinian horror film, supernatural thriller that gets fairly decent reviews and might be worth checking out now that Halloween's over. Thanks Netflix, you're really good at this Halloween thing. Einsatzgruppe, the Nazi Death Squads, is a documentary series examining the Einsatzgruppe, the Nazis who were responsible for the mass murder of the Jews, the Gypsies, and the Soviet prisoners in Eastern Europe. A very poignant series this, might be a bit depressing for most. It was made around 2009 and seems to be an appropriate documentary for this period of the year. Under the Sun is another documentary shot over a year under strict government control. The film reveals the conflicted life of a young girl chosen to join North Korean's Children's Union. Allende is a Latin American drama that dramatizes the final 7 hours of the socialist Chilean president Salvador Allende, who died during the military coup of September 11th, 1973. Patterns of Evidence, Exodus, is another documentary. This documentary travels the globe in search of archaeological evidence that Exodus, as told in the Old Testament, actually occurred. Might be quite interested. It's narrated by Kevin Sorbo and seems to fairly represent both sides of the argument. Once Upon a Holiday is yet another Hallmark Christmas movie. When a princess escapes her entourage to explore New York over Christmas, she meets a young man who shows the beautiful stranger his side of the city. It doesn't exactly say what exactly that man shows her. I'm guessing, given this is a Hallmark movie, it isn't the seedy underbelly of Manhattan. However, with all these movies, there's got to be one redeeming feature, and depends on how redeeming you find that. Brianna Evigan and her dad, Greg Evigan, are in it. It's been described as an engrossing television movie by one person, with wonderful subtleties, a really sweet movie, and a holiday movie not to be missed. Unfortunately, I believe I might miss it. Using breakthroughs in technology and neuroscience, The Beginning of Life, the series, examines how environment affects infants and how infants can affect our future. That's all it gives us in the description. However, this is a television science documentary that was made this year. It's 1 season long. The series seems to be based off of a 90-minute feature documentary that was supported by UNICEF. True Memoirs of an International Assassin is a Netflix original movie, Kevin James. Much like movies before it, The Do-Over and Special Correspondence, this does actually look like a much better project, especially than The Do-Over, that might combine some decent action with some decent comedy. The trailer is alright. It also features Andy Garcia, Kim Coates, and the impossibly attractive Zulaiha No. The look and feel of it does seem very much like The Do-Over and Special Correspondence, with that Venezuelan backdrop, the threat of action-adventure with a predominantly comic actor. However, that said, the reviews are actually quite good for it. I haven't watched this yet because I did endure The Do-Over, and well, I fairly enjoyed the Special Correspondence, but I have no desire to go back and revisit Special Correspondence. However, this does sound kind of fun, and something that maybe a Sunday evening might welcome. Tales by Light is a Netflix documentary following renowned photographers as they explore far-flung locales, capturing extraordinary images that present nature and culture in a new light. Netflix television documentary Roman Empire Reign of Blood is a stylish mix of documentary and historical epic chronicle that sees the reign of Commodus, the emperor whose rule marked the beginning of the Romans' fall. Estocolmo is yet another TV series distributed by Netflix about an undercover agent, a prosecutor and a journalist who try to bring down a human trafficking ring, but nothing is as straightforward as it seems. It seems to be a really difficult show to find any form of information on. I can't even find a country of origin. I know it's Spanish. However, flicking through the reviews on Netflix from people who have already watched it, it struggles to get above 1 out of 5, so I don't think this is a series that really is worth your time. There's 13 episodes, all of which run about 40 minutes each. The general opinion is that this is trash. I don't know if I would bother watching it. The trailer doesn't look too bad, however it doesn't seem to really reach the ranks of Narcos. And therefore that brings us to my recommendation of the week. My recommendation of the week is not to watch anything new on Netflix, because there isn't really that much, save for one stand-up show and perhaps a documentary that might be intriguing to you. There's nothing new on Netflix that achieves a "I gotta see that" rating. So go back and find something that you want to watch. I thoroughly recommend The Expanse, actually.